Hey, hey, it's Berta J, and you're back in my kitchen with me so we can talk about the climate in our country today. There have been a lot of things that have been going on, but the culmination of all the things from past to now have really come to the death of George Floyd, a black man by a white police officer. And it was a horrendous death. It was really, really bad. And I just wanted to take the time and share my thoughts about what has happened and what's going on. It's not specifically about that death, but about so many other things. I have been, because I wanted to prepare for this, I've been looking at more than my share of videos and posts and different blogs and reading, because I wanted to really talk to you from my heart, and I wanted to share those things that I'm feeling with you. It's not a quick fix, and I am not in agreement with all of the rioting and all the looting and with burning and with violence. That's not something that I put my Berta J's seal of approval on. I don't want that. There's something else that I've heard a lot of, and that many people want to get rid of the police. I don't think that's the answer. We need somebody, some governing authority, somewhere, somehow, so that when there's a problem, we have somebody we can call, that we can trust. That's the key, because we need people we can trust to treat us the same as they treat everybody else. But so change must come. And you must remember also that there's good and bad in every profession. If you've got doctors, they're good and bad doctors. We all know that. They're good and bad dentists. They're good and bad lawyers, good and bad car salesmen. There's good and bad in every profession. But in this situation, what I'm seeing is that too many people that are people of color are dying needlessly because situations have been misunderstood and they haven't listened. So I feel like we need conversation. We need conversation. You need conversation in your sphere of influence, so you can talk about how you judge people of color. This is black people talking to black people talking to their white friends. It's like a mixture, but talk to one another so that you can get this information out on the table and you can find out how you're feeling. And it's only with the hearts of individuals are things going to really change. You must start to look at this as an uncomfortable place where the United States has come to, but each one of us have to take a look at that uncomfortable situation in our own lives. We each have our own set of prejudices. Everybody does, but not racism, not racist. And then you're probably wondering, well, Berta, what do black people really want? I made a short list of things I felt. One is we just want justice. When things go wrong, whether it's black on black crime or black on white crime or whatever color it is that justice will be served and not just somebody nabbed so that the case will be over with. We want to be treated fairly, whether it's in our jobs, we have either the same education or a better education than somebody who's applying for a job, that we will get the same money, the same compensation for the work we do that somebody who is of a lighter hue than we are. If we want to join a club, we can do that. Without the people at the club who used to know us, who are not there anymore, they move on, new people come in, and then we're stopped to say, well, you can't come here, you don't belong here. And we just want to be judged fairly. We have our own, we come to this club because we have our membership, and we also want to be able to buy things without having somebody in that particular shop or store following us around because they think we're going to steal something. We want to be able to live in peace in neighborhoods that we want to live in, not in neighborhoods only that is designated by society. You have to live there. If we have the money to buy a better home, or we want to live in a certain condominium or a certain apartment, we'll be able to do that, and we'll be able to do it in peace. We want to feel comfortable to go where we want to go without feeling like we're going to be harassed. I have seen a little boy, 12 years old, one of the videos, who was mowing lawns, and somebody called the police on him. There was a man bird watching in Central Park, and a woman, white woman, he's black, the woman was white, who called the police on him. It's like people living, walking, breathing, doing what normal people do, the police get called on them. We would like to not see that happen anymore, because we have every right to do the simple things like every other group of people. Now, you say, the one thing I don't want you to do as you're having these conversations, that you feel like you have to come back to me, come back to your black friends or your friends that are people of color, to say, am I being racist? Did I do this right? This is what I want you to think about. I want you to think about, how would you treat that same situation if the people involved in the situation were all white? Would you do it the same way? And if not, it may be that you have to look at yourself, I might be a little bit racist here, and maybe I need to look at that. Okay, so you don't have to have somebody police you or to judge what you're doing. You do that for yourself. I believe that legislation, bills can be passed to change some things, but nobody can legislate the change in the heart of a person. Nobody. That person has to do that, and only God can do that. Only Jesus can change that. That's where I think the crux of the problem is that people's hearts need to be changed, and Jesus, as I said, can do that. He was asked by, I think it was some lawyers in the synagogue, but somebody asked him, so Jesus, what do you think the greatest commandment is? And he answered by saying this. He said to love God with all of your heart, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And so when I read that, I thought, Lord, who's my neighbor? And I believe he spoke to my heart and said, your neighbor is anybody but you. Your neighbor could be your child. Your neighbor could be your real neighbor. But your neighbor is anybody outside of who you are. And so you want to love that person. You want to care about them just like you do your own self. And so if we do that, and we submit these things that we know are going on in our own lives, I believe God and Jesus, Holy Spirit, can change that attitude and the way we think. The last thing I wanted to say is that Martin Luther King said it the best on how he wanted to see this country go. And this was back in 1963 in his I Have a Dream speech in Washington, D.C. He says, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation, because he was in the United States. He was talking about the United States. Will live in a nation where they are not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And that's all we want, the same thing. There is a video that I will post below, one of the many that I watch, but I really think this woman puts in a capsule exactly how I'm feeling about what needs to happen as our next step. And her name is Dr. Frida. She is a doctor, and she has been mistreated, but that's not what she goes through. She gives one example of that, but she goes on to talk about other things. And I think you will be blessed by what she shares, and it will help you because it helped me. Okay? And with that, that's how I'm feeling about the climate of our country. And I would ask you to pray for our country, that it will be the great nation that God always intended it for it to be. Okay? So until next time, bye for now.